Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're out here in the garden again today, or at least what passes for a garden until I get a real garden bed going on. And we got Tequila joining us and baby DK. So today I wanted to talk about having color all year round in your garden, because having color all year round is not as difficult as it seems. Like, this is a summer flower, but now they're wilting because they're getting their seeds and they're kind of done for the year. So that's not good for giving you fall color. These guys give you color most of the year. That guy's pretty colorful. He'll bloom in the fall. And those guys are colorful into summer. But they're coming to the end, probably another few weeks, and they'll come to the end of their blooming. So how do you keep color in your garden all year long? And I'm just going to talk about that and show you some images while I walk this way to check on the potatoes. We do have to check on the potatoes. As soon as they start flowering, we know it's time to dig them up. Hi, Tequila. What do you see? Just checking. All right, so while she's worrying about whatever she's barking at, we're going to go walk and see the potatoes. So once you know what you like and what colors kind of go together, what you think goes together, because that matters too, it is time to think about how you can achieve color through all seasons. Because if you really want color, hi DK, just a baby DK. But if you really want color, it's a good idea to think about how you can incorporate it all year long. And there is an opportunity for color all year. Okay, you can have color all year. Maybe you could have some dang poison ivy. That's what that is. That's poison ivy. It turns red, so it's colorful. Don't plant poison ivy. It's very itchy. But no matter where you live, you can have color all year long. Yes. Hi, Tequila. So you can have color all year long, and you can have Tequila. She's white. Can't have Tequila. Thank you. That's my doggie. You can't have her. Hi, Tequila. Come on, baby. So it does take a little planning, but no matter where you live, you can plan out for color all year round. Now, I often get asked, how do you do that when it's sub-zero half the year? Well, how you do that is you incorporate things a little bit differently if you live where I live and your winters are so freaking cold you can't even function. So what you do is you have to not just think about flowers, where if you live where you have really cold winters. You can have flowers, certainly, that bloom from spring through fall, but you also might want to use foliage, bark, and berries through the winter. So there's lots of really fun bushes, especially evergreen bushes. Hi, baby Bowser. Yes. So there's a lot of evergreen bushes that flower and produce berries in the winter. There's also just your evergreen plants. And a lot of trees have interesting bark, so we have a lot of birches. Go over here and take a look at some of the birches. We have birches in all places, actually. So we have birches over here, birches here. So they look really cool in the winter because all this greenery falls off and you see these spindles of white next to all the brown. So that can look really pretty. Also Tequila and DK and Bowser, because they're very nice kittens and a very nice doggy. Right, sweetie? Good girl. So you can use your foliage, your bark, your berries, your evergreens to give you color even in the winter. Your colors won't be as varied, it's true, but you can still do it. Now, if you live somewhere that has warmer winters, then you're actually in luck because you can have a lot of color all year round. That level of color is not possible when you're talking about further north where it's really, really cold. Okay, it is simply not going to happen. See, we still have some blooms here happening. Not a ton. It's a new pumpkin right down there. Nice new pumpkin. Nice. So we will have a couple of pumpkins off this plant. That'll be fun. Excellent. Let's go check our jalapenos. Tequila, you want to check on the jalapenos with me? So there is a vast range of plants you can use. Okay? You can do 3 or 4 seasons of color with just your annuals and perennials. So just your, the flowers you buy at the garden center, some are perennials, some are annuals, but your choices expand exponentially if you add in shrubs and trees. Okay, shrubs and trees are really important when it comes to just being able to incorporate some color in the winter, because it sucks. But they also look really good in the summer. So annuals are flowers, most of the flowers you buy at the garden center. And those, they grow like mad and they bloom really, really well, right up until they get hit with that first frost. So my chickens. And see, we're adding greenery to the front of the house by adding our little cedars. They're very pretty. We like them. So our jalapenos are coming along. They are not harvestable yet, but they're getting there. And yes, it was very, very hot yesterday. There's our other cedar. Very hot yesterday. So it's been interesting. Last couple days. Very, very hot. So you can use annuals and they will grow like mad, but then the frost kills them and they're done. So they're a really easy way to give quick color in kind of the sadder spots. So annuals are like our snapdragons. They won't come back next year. The frost will kill them and they'll be done. But they're a quick way to add some color. Downside of them, high shadow effects. Downside of them is that you have to regrow them every year. So you have to go buy new ones every single year because they die. Unless you live in a fairly temperate area where the frost doesn't kill them. But the frost kills them here. So plus side, lots of color, tend to be inexpensive. Downside, you have to replant them every single year. So these guys, again, we're getting later in the summer now. These guys are coming to the end. But that's the way it goes with annuals. So perennials, like this red guy is a perennial, and these guys are a perennial. So those guys are perennials. They are a little bit different in that they do come back year after year. The downside, so you don't have to replant them because these guys will just keep regrowing. The downside is they do have a shorter bloom time. Okay? They don't bloom for as long. Like this is a fall bloom. So it's really impressive foliage color, but it's actually a fall bloom. So we won't see a bloom there until September, really. So the plus side of perennials is, of course, you don't have to replant them every year. Okay? The downside is they bloom for a short time, but they do allow you to kind of plan a succession of color. So if you plant things that are coming into and out of bloom at different times, so for example, columbine flowers in the late spring, you can get it in pastel colors. Yarrow flowers in the summer, and they tend to be very vibrant. Asters flower in the fall, and they have like very deep fall-like colors. And you can plant those in sequence, so at different times of year, different things are blooming. So think about that as well, because as things bloom, you'll be able to get entirely different looks to your garden. Okay, and it'll look like it's on purpose, that you're working so hard, but it's really just the plants doing their thing. So a little bit of planning means things can look really, really cool. You also want to consider blowing a fly off my hand. You want to consider that, yep. But you also want to consider foliage. You'll need green anyway, okay? Gardens are nothing without greenery. So you'll need some kind of greenery. And if you live where I live, greenery is pretty much all that survives the winter. But there are a lot more colors when it comes to foliage. There are yellows, oranges, purples, reds, whites, silvers, lots of different colors in foliage. And these guys are growing pretty well. Should get some nice fruit out of that. But so there's lots of different colors, okay? Whether you're using annuals as your foliage, your perennials, which by the way, most ornamental grasses are perennial, shrubs, trees, the foliage potential is pretty much endless because things are pretty cool if you're just looking for foliage. Go to your nursery, take a look at the leaves before you buy things. Okay, not just the blooms. The leaves are what you're looking for. So in the winter, here, for example, we want evergreens, your cedars, your pines, your spruces. We want shrubs. I'm going to have a holly bush. Yes, I'm putting in a holly bush because I can, and it looks pretty in the winter. So I'm growing it. That's just the way it's going to go. Even your dried ornamental grasses. So most of your ornamental grasses are perennials. And if you don't trim them down for the winter, they kind of stick up and look really kind of cool in the winter. Because they're kind of doing this, this floppy, dry thing, and it looks really cool. So you want to consider doing something like that. Leave the ornamental grasses. Don't rip them out over the winter. Just leave them because they'll look really cool. All of this can provide interest and color. Okay, so it's important to think about what will bloom in what season and consider how you're going to keep your garden colorful if color matters to you throughout the year. So this video has already gone on for 11 minutes. So instead of talking about the next topic, I'm going to push that to the next video, which I'm going to talk about multi-seasonal plants. So ideas for what plants you can pick that look good in all seasons. And I'm also going to talk about specific plants for specific seasons, because that's also a lot of fun. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow.